Hi there, this is Dr. Embuddy with Project 9. Now Project 9, it will have a similar pattern to recent previous projects in that we've got a CSV file, we're going to read it in, we're going to process it, and then we're going to display some information about it. In this case, we're going to have songs. And we have a large file. In fact, the small one has about 150,000 lines to it. So these are pretty good size data files. And what we have is we're going to be reading in information about musicians and their songs and the words that they have in their songs. What's going to be different about this project from the previous project is that we're going to include sets in it, so we're going to have dictionaries and sets, and so we're going to have this dictionary, and it's going to be indexed by singers. So, for example, Bob Dylan, and then there will be for each of those singers there will be their songs, and so we'll have each song, and then we'll have a set of words for that particular song. Right? And so what I want to do, what I'll start with here is actually take a look at the data file itself, and then show you a little bit about how the data itself will be structured. All right, so let's start off. So we have this Project 9. We're going to be reading a file of comma separated values from this song company, and what I want to, and there are some familiar things in here. Open a file, okay, we've done that before. One of the files we read is these things called stop words. These are the ones with ignore, a, the, and things like that, and those come back as a set. But and we're going to have this read data file, or read data function, and what it does is it calls the update a dictionary function, and here's where a lot of the good stuff gets done, where we're going to pass in this dictionary, and and we're going to update the dictionary with the singer, the name of a song, and the words that are in that song. And so we show the structure here, and it goes something like this. So you can see that we have a dictionary here with the curly braces, right? And we have a singer as a string, and then for that singer we have another dictionary of songs, again a string, and then there'll be a set of words in there. Right? And so we have song 1 and then the set of words that are in song 1, and then we have song 2, and there's colons there, right? So that's a particular entry. So for song 2 we have a set of words, and so on, all for that particular singer. And then we will have for another singer, we will have a dictionary of also their songs and the words that are in the songs. So that's the sort of the core idea there. And given that, let's take a look at the data file. And I opened it up in Excel, so I've picked Bob Dylan here, and so there's the so what we have in the columns are the we have the singer, in this case Bob Dylan, and then we have, you can see there's a bunch of songs, and you know, like here's one, Belle Isle, right, and All Over You, and this one is Blowing in the Wind, and then there are the lyrics to the song, all the lyrics that are in that song. Now what's a little hard to see here is that when I look at this particular column, I'll expand this out a little bit, and we can see that we have the word blowing in the wind, and then we have the lyrics, and it only looks like there's 4 or 5 rows, but if I arrow down, we can see that there are in fact many lines in here, all the lyrics of the song. So they're all there. They don't show up just the way Excel is organized, and you can in fact, if you want to, expand this cell out if you wanted to see them. But we see that for Bob Dylan, oh, there we go. There's one way we can expand it. You can see, you know, for Bob Dylan and Blowing in the Wind, there's a lot of words in there. So what is this? What is my what does this data dictionary that I'm talking about here look like? So it turns out that it has. So I'm here in the IPython console. I've run the program so I can see this thing. So there are 28 singers in here. And if I look at Bob Dylan, then what I see is a lot of songs. So here is a particular song, and a colon, and then a set of all the words that are in that song. Right. So there's the end of the set of words for that song, and then the other for the end of all the songs of Bob Dylan. So we see there's that particular tune. You know, and here's another tune, and the words that go along with that. You can see He Likes Babe, and so on here. Yep, there's another Babe, It Ain't Me, Babe, and all the words that go along with that. So if I wanted to, I could say, let's look at Bob Dylan, and let's look at, I got to be careful about my quotes because they have a single quote inside there. See if I got that right. Well, let's skip Blowing in the Wind. Let's grab another famous one. It Ain't Me, Babe. So let's try that one. Here we go. So I seem incapable of getting the. So we've got data dictionary. Bob. Yeah, all right, so got it right that time. So if I look at in my data dictionary, we looked before at everything for Bob Dylan, but so here I'm indexing by Bob Dylan, and I'm also indexing by one of his songs, It Ain't Me, Babe, and then we have all of the words that are in that song. And you'll see that there are things, ands, and thes, and stuff like that that are not in there because those are in our stop word list, and we didn't use them. And you'll also see that we've stripped off the punctuation, but that's also in the instructions. So this is the data structure that we use, and then based on that data structure, we do a bunch of stuff. So for example, in the read data, that's where I'm taking my file, the FP, and I'm taking the stop words. Those are the A's, ands, and thes, the things I'm going to be ignoring, and then I'm going to return this data dictionary, which has a singer and their song and the words in the song, and then another song and the words in that song, and then we get to the next singer, and so on. So that's the structure that I just showed you. And so the read data will go through this file, we'll go through the file with FP, ignoring the stop words, and gather all the musicians and all of their songs and all the words that are in that song, that are in those songs. Because of, as you saw me struggling with things like single quotes and double quotes and stuff like that, we encourage you to use the CSV reader, import CSV, and then use the CSV reader, and I show you how to do that there if you haven't done that before. It's also in the book. What we do is we call the process lyrics function, which will create a set of words. And so if we go back here, so there's some helper. So that when I do the read data, I'm going to be updating the dictionary, and I'll process the lyrics. I will send in this string that's all the lyrics together, and the stop words, and I will return back a set of all the words in there as a set. There's a few things that you can do in there. There's a few things. Convert everything to lowercase, strip off punctuation from the ends of the words, and if there's something like a hyphen in the middle, then you don't need to remove that, just from the end of the words. And you might find string.punctuation, import string, and then string.punctuation has all the strings in there. And then also to help you out, we have this validate word function where you take a word, see whether it's a stop word or not. So these functions are ones that after you get those written, they make this read data function easier to write. So those are the helper functions to get that right. And you can always add more if you want. So now I have this data dictionary, and then we do some things with it. So we do an average word count. We find the singer's vocabulary. And so what these will be is finding a dictionary and getting the average word count for each singer. So each singer will have an average word count, and we define how you do that. And then the same thing here, we're going to take this in, and we're going to, for every singer, we're going to want a set of all the words they use in all of their songs, right? So we're doing some calculations there. And then we're going to display some information, and then we're also going to search through it. So we saw, for example, Bob Dylan used Babe in there a couple of times. So if I searched for Babe, I would find Bob Dylan's songs in there. So the core of this is really in building these helper functions. Like updating the dictionary. You got to get that dictionary in your head in terms of how do you update it, and that will be calling this process lyrics, which creates a set. Okay, so once you get these helper functions put together, the construction of the program is a lot easier, and Mir will the testing of those functions. Once you get those working, then the building of it gets it gets easier. But be careful. There's a lot to this project, right? And so when we're all done, and we start looking at some test cases, so the first test case takes in our stop words, our small ones. We print out the top 10 based upon average word count. So for every singer, we're going to, one of the things that we're going to do is get their average word count, their vocabulary size, how many different words did they use across all of theirs, and how many songs are there. And then the next test case adds some search, but we don't have any error checking. And so if I take these three words, love, hate, and like, then I get there are 61 songs, and we print out just some of them. And again, that's specified, how to do that. Okay, so who's got War and Peace? Well, there's just 6 songs, and again, we've got the singers and the songs that are in there. And then we also include some plotting. And as before, once you get the stuff set up, the plotting works out. And here we're just having just plotting the size of vocabulary versus the number of songs, and it's interesting that there's a somewhat linear relationship here, but there are a bunch of outliers too, so that's kind of interesting. And then there's a bunch of function tests that we have, that are useful when you're building building those functions. So hopefully this showing you how what this data structure looks like will help you then in putting this together and building it. Be careful, there's a lot to this one. It will take a while, it will take time to get this all done. Good luck.